All right, we're rolling. What's up, everybody? Hey, we already got some people in the chat here. Augustus. Yep, the guy on the left won around the whiteboard. I did. I won that today. Thank goodness. That's a monkey off my back.
I was
What's
watching it.
up?
I didn't get through it all.
Did you see it? Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
I like those guys. Welcome to the show, everybody. I have Marat and Zachary with me here today. Zachary, are you an affiliate owner?
No, I'm a head coach at an affiliate.
Head coach at an affiliate, and you have daily training tip on Instagram, which is getting quite a following. You've been posting a tip, CrossFit movement, usually each day. How many days in a row have you done that?
1,000 days, man. Yeah, I just crossed
For real?
1,000. Yeah, just crossed 1,000. Posted a little celebration post, and then I think I'm going to keep going. I nearly thought about stopping, but it's just part of my life now. Yeah, I just post every day.
It's funny. So 1,000 is like crazy habit, like routine building now, because like I just did my stupid little like 100-day thruster challenge, and I was talking to somebody about it the other day, and I'm like, every day now if I don't do it, I feel like I've forgotten to do something. So you're going to be like 10x that. If you ever decide to stop, you'd be like, shoot, what did I forget I had to do today? You'd be like posting your daily tip.
Yeah.
Well, that's for real, because actually I dedicate time every day to it, and some days it takes 5 minutes to make an Instagram post. Some days it takes an hour. So you sort of notice it when you don't do it, but you're right. It's like part of the routine. I did think about stopping or not posting every day, but it really has been, and we'll get to the whole growth as a coach type thing through this conversation, but it really has been something that kept me accountable to growing as a coach and constantly improving, constantly learning and that sort of thing. So I think at this stage, I'm going to keep going, because if I don't do it, my life isn't pressuring me to stop it because of outside other things I need to do. I can keep doing it.
Props to you, man. We try at my gym to do content like tips and stuff like that, and it's a lot of work. So man, 1,000 days in a row, that's amazing.
Yeah. And that sort of consistency works with anything in life, I guess. But with that specifically, like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Monroe Miller. He's a guy I've worked with in Jump Ship for a while. He's done basically the same thing just on his own personal account. He's grown to hundreds of thousands of followers just by giving his perspective daily, every day. And that's what he always tells me. The consistency is what feeds him through the algorithm. So it's working for you as well, which is like awesome to see. Yeah. Marat, a little bit about you. You're affiliate owner. Where are you based out of?
CrossFit New Hope, Dallas, Georgia. We're about an hour northwest from Atlanta.
Okay. And how long have you had that gym for?
About 2.5 years. We only moved to Georgia in 2021. Before that, I was a member at an affiliate gym that I really loved. Shout out to Gorilla Fitness in New Jersey. And on the side, I was doing like personal training, but not like as a business. I would like train friends and stuff out of my garage and things like that.
And so did you buy that gym down there, or did you start it from scratch?
Oh, I started from scratch. You know, I knew nobody here. So, you know, we had like, I think 10 or 13 pre-sale people, and it was all strangers, you know, so that was pretty good that I knew nobody, and we started with anybody, you know?
Yeah. Did you have any sort of previous business experience, or has this been your crash course in entrepreneurship?
I owned a supplement company for 4 years, and it was a little bit different because it wasn't like brick and mortar. Like I had an office where like I shipped stuff out of, but it was very, very low rent, very small compared to like actually owning a gym with customers and members you see every day. So it was different. Yeah. So yeah, I had a business, but it was very different.
And in products versus services is obviously a much different business to have to run, and they both have different challenges. Cool. Well, the point of today's show is basically chatting about the level 3. Zach, you just took it recently, correct? The CrossFit CCFT or whatever it's called there.
Yeah, well, about 18 months ago I took it.
Oh,
so
that long ago.
And that long ago, and the time flies. And I've already got all my CEUs to cover me for the next lot already. So I'm set for a couple of years yet.
Zach, it took them that long to send you that patch. That's why I messaged Zach, because he posted a picture of a level 3 patch he got. So I messaged him asking some questions, but I didn't realize you had your L3 for that long.
Yeah. Apparently they must give them out every year, because I've got one from last year, and I don't know what the deal is with the patches, because I don't talk about it or advertise it. But I was talking to Lily Free, who is the Australian country manager for CrossFit, and she's like, "Hey Zach, do you want like the L3 patch or whatever?" And I said, "Yeah." So I don't know what the story is with those patches, but
Hmm.
it is a cool bit of a badge of honor type thing to whack them on the backpack or the vest or whatnot.
So aside from it being an awesome badge of honor, have you found value in passing that test? Has it carried over to really anything beyond the fact that you now have proven that you have a certain level of knowledge?
Some people will say in the gym, oh, look at Zach, he's an L3 coach. 99% of people don't give a damn. The value it brings is the professional development that you give yourself or you take the time to do yourself. The value is in the learning, in the process, all that type of thing. You can be a fantastic coach without an L3, but keeping yourself accountable to the process and achieving it, that's where the value is. It's not the badge that you whack on your t-shirt or your vest or your Instagram bio or anything like that, because most people don't care. I mean, everyone knows you can be a great coach without having any credentials, but it is just a constant level up, I guess, where the value really is.
You could also be a not so good coach. You could also be a not so good coach with lots of credentials.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yes, I know a few people that have passed their level 3, and I know how they coach, and I'm like, okay, yep, you absorb some book knowledge and you got this done, and okay, good for you. But you're right, it is just, it's in my opinion like another stepping stone. If you did ever want to pursue the level 4, which is basically another test, but it's like a live in-person test versus a multiple choice test. I think that may carry a little more weight. I think once you have something like that, you sort of get to this untouchable coaching echelon, whether you're a great coach or not. If you sort of have that badge, it's almost like everyone kind of goes, wow, how did they get that? It's kind of one of those things they haven't had open for that long. They opened it up. They closed the testing for L4. Anyway, don't need to go down that road. I passed the level 3. I don't remember what year it was, probably close to at least 10 years ago now. So when they first put the level 3 out there, I was one of the first people to sign up, get in line, and take my exam. I think they used to actually number the test too, and like my number came back as like 274 or something. So someone was telling me I was like one of the first 300 to pass it. I didn't study. I just went in there, and I think I'm telling that not because I'm trying to brag, but because what set me up to pass the L3, and that's what a lot of people want to hear, is the fact that I was so ingrained in CrossFit, so obsessed with it from 2008, well, still now, but before the test, 2008, up until I took the test, whenever it was 12, 13, 14, I don't remember what year. And I didn't have to study because I absorbed everything they put out there. The CrossFit Journal was my Bible. I was reading that regularly. I went through every article multiple times. I watched every video they had on the old CrossFit website. This is long before they uploaded things to YouTube. And I just took it all in like a sponge. And when you try to develop yourself like that, like that's kind of just what I was interested in, it made it very easy to take the test. Now, if you feel like you have to really study for something, or you're not understanding, or you're just doing it as a badge of honor sort of thing, it's going to make it very hard to take the test. And that's sort of my opinion on that. What do you guys think about yeah.
So my plan, actually, originally planned, I don't know if I'm going to do it, but I was going to do the same thing, take the test without studying, because very similar to you, I was so ingrained in it. I was like basically obsessed with it, like a lot of us get, you know. I first discovered CrossFit.com in 2007, was doing the workouts at a local gym, getting kicked out all the time, you know, and all the journal articles, all the videos, you know, like you said, before they went up on YouTube, and then all the YouTube content through the years, everything with the methodology. Then later on, more so the games, because they kind of slowed down the methodology stuff, started ramping up the games content. But my idea was to take the L3 without studying. So I don't know what I'm going to do now. I haven't started studying, so I don't know yet.
Why haven't you taken it yet? I should say you've been involved even as long as I have or more. What's taken you this up to this point to dip your toes in the water there?
So I only got my L2 March of 22. So we opened our gym in March of 21. I originally got my L1 in 2012, but then I was coaching at 2013, 2014. I let my L1 lapse. There was a couple of years where I was having a bunch of surgeries. I wasn't involved. I wasn't going to a CrossFit gym. I wasn't doing much CrossFit training just because I was constantly recovering from surgeries. So I let it lapse. And then I took the online L1 just so I could open my affiliate. And then I did the L2. But I don't know. I didn't really know if I needed the L3. Like in my mind, I was like, do I really want to take it? Do I need it? Will it make a difference? Like Zach said, it'll make a difference, I think, internally. I don't see it making a difference whatsoever in my business.
Internally, as in within you, like you get fired up because you have it and you kind of step up your game, or not internally within the business, like you yourself.
Yeah, me myself, like kind of like a feather in the cap of like,
Mm.
I did this, I accomplished this, I'm at this level. There are very few level 3s in my immediate area. So, if there's one person that cares about that, they'll see that I'm the most local level 3,
That could be good. Zach, before I get your approach on how you took the level 3, couple comments here. Kenneth DeLapp says Zach is so handsome. Look at that jawline. It's true. I mean, that thing is like, it's impressive. And then,
Sponsored by
You know,
Jaws or
you know,
Sizer.
you know
Yeah.
how I got this? You know how I got
no,
this?
how? Tell me, please.
Lots of thrusters and lots of meats and vegetables, man. I'll tell you what.
Shoot, I'm sticking with my thruster plan then. I'm sticking with if that's what it takes.
That's the caveman jaw.
Yeah, for real. Augustus Link is saying, Zach, weren't you trying to buy an affiliate at one point?
I'm in the process of that now.
Oop.
So I've been the head coach of this gym for a while. I'm in the process of buying it. I'm not going to say too much more about that.
Yeah.
But everyone will sort of see the process as it unfolds.
Good luck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I hope it
That's
works out. So as far as your approach goes, on when you decided to take the L3, what were your next steps? Did you study? Did you just go right after it, or what was your thought process there?
I pretty much went right after it. So I had my L1 for almost 5 years. I got the email saying that your L1 is going to expire. So I said, great, I'm going to do the level 2. And then basically once I did the level 2, I thought I've put off professional development for too long. I mean, when I was an L1, I was just coaching part-time, all the rest of it. Then I came into a head coach role. And then I thought I've put off developing myself as a coach for far too long, because part of the issue was the coaches in my gym were all part-timers and no one went after getting better as a coach. It was all a very casual affair here. And I thought, stuff it, I want to make this gym and I want to make CrossFit the best thing on planet Earth, even though it already is. So I thought, okay, I'm going to get my level 3 as soon as possible. So I set myself a year target. It took me about 15 or 18 months by the time I actually booked it and whatever, because I actually had to travel to do my L3. They didn't host it where I live. But basically, I gave myself a year. I thought, okay, what do I need to do to achieve this? And I just dove headfirst into CrossFit material. Basically, like you had said, Seth, you consumed everything on the journal, everything that they ever put out, everything to do with CrossFit. And I mean, I was already doing that casually because I enjoyed it and because it's what my passions are and were. But I thought, okay, let's get super familiar with the level 1, the level 2, and the core materials that they put out and the core principles and theories that they put out. And that's basically the way I went about it, because I'm glad I did it that way, because once I took the test, I did realize that they test purely on CrossFit methodology, like not so much or not really at all on outside sources of strength and conditioning and scientific stuff. It is purely like CrossFit methodology, like how well can you grab the concepts from the level 1 and 2 and apply them to whatever scenario they put in front of you. And I mean, yeah, it is like you said, it's a multiple choice test and you sit in front of a computer. So it's not exactly a real life scenario, but they try and put out scenarios to sort of test your knowledge on that type of thing. And so the way I went about it was just head first in the level 1 and 2. And I think that will get you most of the way. But consuming the rest of what CrossFit puts out is probably the way to go as well.
Yeah, it's I had a point and then I lost it there. Yeah, well, so probably for me, it was probably easier back in the day for me. And I've heard the test has changed over the years. I don't know if they've made the test easier or harder since I've taken it over a decade ago, whatever. But there was much less content to consume. And like you had said, it's very specific to the CrossFit methodology. Most of the answers in the test, and I know I'm not supposed to give away details or whatever, you're not supposed to talk about it, but a lot of it is direct quotes from old Glassman articles. If you really go back to the What is Fitness, the level 1 manual, like all that stuff in there, the answers are specifically like as written in old literature. And there's been lots of new stuff that's come out, lots of new videos, but like if you just assuming the test hasn't changed dramatically, it is like Zach said, word for word out of that stuff. And it doesn't matter what your background is. You could be the most experienced strength and conditioning coach outside of the CrossFit world for 40 years. It is impossible to pass the L3 unless you get into that content. Do you agree with that?
Has there been
I
new
think
stuff that came out?
Say
I
again?
think,
Has there been new stuff that's come out?
yeah, I think the test has obviously gone through different iterations and they've put out different material around the testing. You're pretty much right. All the stuff in the test that I took nearly 2 years ago is all around the CrossFit stuff, but it's probably not exactly like all the direct quotes. They might put questions in there, which if you know the material, you know what they're asking, you know, what is CrossFit, constantly varied functional movements executed at high intensity, but they might word it differently, or they might put it in a scenario that you actually have to think about it a little bit. But yeah, you are right that it is all the material straight from particularly those handbooks, but all the other stuff they put out, like them. I do remember there was like really good and interesting questions about training masters, training kids, and all that type of thing in there too.
And there's a lot of video and photo, or at least there was in mine, where you're trying to pick the best answer, not necessarily the only answer. And I thought I didn't think that was necessarily hard, but I thought that if you weren't you didn't have a sharp eye or weren't experienced as to how you're going to, like, let's say you have a class setting as one of the videos and you need to triage the quickest fix or the most common fault. That can be challenging if you actually haven't spent live time in the gym, seeing and correcting things like that. And I think there was a good bit of that in the test that I took. Still consistent with that, Zach?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of photo and video, and some of it's obvious and some of it's actually quite tricky. Like I do remember a video that panned across the screen and you had to remember who was committing what fault and how many faults were in total completed and whatnot. I want to go back to what I was talking about earlier about like how I prepared, because that actually brings me to the to some interesting thoughts that I had. So after I did my level 2, I thought, I'm going to put my head down into this material, but my day-to-day, I'm also going to just take everything to the next level. I can't remember who it was, if it was Ackerman or if it was whoever, but I remember some of those types of coaches saying things like, an L3 coach should be able to cue any rep of any athlete of any movement. All right. And obviously that's a very high bar to set, but it's like, okay, well, can I go into the affiliate and can I pick out even the most experienced athletes or trainees in my gym, and can I cue them on every rep? And that was a challenge I sort of set out for myself. It's like, okay, because like a front rack's an easy one. I can't get myself in camera. That's okay, but it's not perfect. That's better, right? So we're trying to actually, even if it's only subtle faults, can we improve our athletes or our members a little bit every rep? So I went into the affiliate every day with a focus of, okay, can I coach these people better? Can I be more direct with my cueing? Can I make it easier for them to understand? So I sort of applied the methods and the thought processes in every class to every member. That was the goal, at least. So if you combine those types of things, like the theoretical stuff of the methodology with the practical application of it, I think you're going to set yourself up for success. All right. And if you're one of those types of coaches, I'm not saying you, Marat, but out there in the world, if you're one of those types of coaches who walks in the morning, flicks the lights on, reads off the whiteboard, and just changes music for the rest of the hour, you're going to have a really hard time passing the level 3 or having success as a coach, just in general, right? Because
lots of
you're not paying
like that.
Yeah, they're not paying attention to much or any of the movement. Like I do think a really good coach is constantly just like, it's got this radar almost for faults or how to cueing people in every class type thing. So you have to be familiar with the method, and you have to be applying it. Sort of.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you guys both this. So you talk about the coach developing themselves, being better, being virtuous, relentless, all those things with their athletes. How much of that development do you think, like if you were going to break it down percentage wise, how much do you think falls directly square on the coach's shoulders to develop? And how much of that do you think falls on the shoulders of maybe their mentor, gym owner, head coach of wherever they're working to send them in the right direction, or even to add another element, how much falls on CrossFit shoulders to encourage people to take that next step? Like how do you?
I'll
Go
add
ahead.
one more. I'll add one more of that because some of that falls onto the members also. You know,
You think?
I'm sure you guys know the members that kind of get annoyed at the coaching, right? Where you give them the same cue over and over again, and they just
Hmm.
won't do it. You know, I had somebody this morning actually who were doing dumbbell front squats, and they just wouldn't break parallel. I must have came over to them 5, 6 times during the 15-minute workout. Tell them go lower, go lower. Give them different cues on how to balance a little bit because they're coming up on their toes, right? They just wouldn't do it, you know. So at that point, I made a decision just to move on to somebody else, you know. In terms of like the coaching development, for me, you know, being the affiliate owner, it's on me to develop myself and my staff, you know. So I do a lot of research on coaching, a lot of reading, a lot of video watching other coaches. I don't really get a chance to go to other affiliates as much as I would like to, just to see other coaching. Um, you know, unfortunately, I just don't get the eyes on me to give myself feedback, you know, from other coaches.
Yeah. Yeah, Zach, what do you think?
Yeah, I think if you're like an employee or if you're a part-time coach, it is so important to be receiving feedback and constant. I don't really like coaching evaluations, but constant feedback. Just like, hey, Zach, in the brief, I heard you say this. Maybe we say this next time, or maybe we approach it differently, right? So just constant feedback. So there's just incremental improvements. Constant feedback on, hey, Zach, I saw you cued someone about their squat this way. How about we cue them about their squat this way? So just constant feedback is super important. And it can be tricky, Marat, as the affiliate owner. I can imagine no one's there to give you feedback. And that's a position where I was in for such a long time, like as a head coach, not getting any feedback or no one telling me, okay, Zach, you need to do this to actually improve as a coach. So I've just tried to set up a culture where I'm trying to help the other coaches in the gym who do it for the passion and do it part-time. But then I also ask them to reciprocate. And I ask them not for opinion, but like more like, okay, based on what you know about training and CrossFit, how would you improve that? Because I don't want them to be too vague about it. We try and stay quite direct about the feedback. From CrossFit's perspective, I think they should be putting out more content around. We know they should be putting out more content, but here's the thing: when I started coaching in 2018, I did my L1. They were putting out like so much level 1 and level 2 material on YouTube. And there were all these like similar to what I'm doing. And that's kind of where I got the idea. 1 to 3 minute clips on YouTube on this is James Hobart teaching the L1 crew the air squat. This is James Hobart teaching the sumo deadlift high pull. And you got to see them actually in real time instructing and whatnot. And I cherish that material, and I still go back and watch a lot of it because it's actually the standard that we should actually be trying to achieve or get to in the affiliate. The way we should be teaching movements, the way we should be sort of seeing and spotting flaws and correcting flaws and faults and things like that. So I can't remember the exact question, but yeah,
it's okay. Yeah,
the head coach and affiliate owner should definitely be constantly giving feedback, and I'd be asking for it the other way. I'd be asking for a little bit of feedback.
So
too.
best hour of their day, they do some of those videos now. You know, I watched one the other day. It was like a level 4 coach teaches the toasted bar progression, and I watched it, and I still try to watch all those videos, and that kind of gave me some validation because it was pretty similar to how I do toasted bar progressions in a class. Go ahead.
I will say, so I happen to see that same video too. And while I love the
I know what you're gonna say.
I love the progression, and it's written several times in the comments. It was an unrealistic representation, perhaps, of a lot of classes. If, like, for example, I just had a workout. I think last night I was coaching in one of my gyms, and toaster bar was one of the movements. Now, there's 7 people in the class I had last night, late evening class. I say, how many people here have toaster bar? One person puts their hand up. And so everybody else is at a different like progression of that movement. And some probably have no intention of even hanging from a pull-up bar. They're there to like work out with their girls, and like they're not really that interested in that, and they'll participate in the class, but you have to have 8 or 9 different directions you can take this while you're coaching through progressions, while this person's not hanging, this person's torn their hand, this person doesn't even have the strength to hold themselves on a pull-up. Like, so that
that's a good point.
that class doesn't look like that progression. That's how I would coach a progression, maybe in a Saturday morning competitors class. Let's like lock this down, or a seminar. Yeah, exactly.
That's a really good point. Like, because all those people mostly were able to do it. Like, same thing. We have a couple people that could do toes to bar. I still show the full progression just so they could work on the skills, especially the first parts. Another thing I noticed about that video, he didn't make any corrections on anybody. Like, there were no modification options and no corrections. So, but I get it. For the purpose of the video, that's what they were doing, right?
Fine video, fine progression for sure, but not a realistic example of class. And I'm sure and I know I'm jumping around a little bit here, but one of the things I like to do in terms of like the way I'm going to teach progressions or whatever to a class, or handle a situation that's crazy, is like Zach was talking about giving feedback to coaches. I coach a lot in my affiliates, even though I own and manage a lot of whatever. Whenever I'm at the closest gym, I'm coaching. I try to get my coaches to come in and take class. One, it's great for the community. And two, it's a chance for me to say, hey, if you're not sharp in this progression, this is how I like to teach it. You can take it from a different direction, but at least now you have this base info. If this movement comes up, you know exactly what the minimum is expected of you to deliver to them. And some of them are pretty receptive in that, but then they get the feedback direct, and then they get to practice it. Then they get to work on it themselves. Now their demo's better. Now they have a better understanding of it. That's how I like to give feedback. I like to scoop my coaches into classes and try to, when they can make it, give them that, attention. So I get like dual purpose out of it.
Yeah, I try that too. I'd love to get my coaches in my classes, but my other coaches are just part-time. One of them does like 3 or 4 classes a week. Another one does a little bit more. My wife picks up some classes. I like to take all of their classes, and that's kind of how I do my evaluations on them. Like, I don't just stand off and watch. I participate in the class, and then like Zach said before, I give them feedback like, oh, hey, you said this. You could have said this, or if they had a issue with a particular member, it's like, oh, here's how you could have handled this, and gave them this cue and whatever. So I like to do that. I wish I had somebody doing that for me too.
Let me ask you guys this. So again, I told you this conversation was going to go way off the rails. Like, we'll maybe circle back to the L3 by the end. But when you guys, and Zach, who's potentially a new affiliate owner here soon, Marat, you have a gym. Like, when you guys would be seeking out help from other coaches, what are some of the traits you guys would look for in the person? I'll start with Zach. Like, as far as what you'd look for to hire in a coach, like what are the things you look for if you were going to bring someone on to work under you?
Mostly just like an approachable personality more than anything, because I think it gets said all the time in these types of conversations, like, we can develop the teaching, scene correcting side of things, but if people don't have the approachable personality, then that's probably one of the most important things. And then also the actual desire to help people. I think you put someone on the floor, even if they're in a shadow coaching role for the day, if you put someone on the floor, you can tell very quickly if they really want to help people or they just want to stand around and sort of look. And so those couple of things is probably the easiest 2 first things, like personality, desire to actually be there and actually participate and help.
And when you say desire, does that like roll into sort of like what I guess I would call them like a go-getter, somebody who like wants to go above and beyond? So like someone who's like almost going out of their way to annoy you. Hey, I'd really like to coach. I'd really like to coach. Like somebody who's putting themselves out there, even when I'm not asking to hire a coach. Like, those are the sort of people where I'm like, okay, let's see why you're so interested. Let's give you a shot. Let's see what happens. But yeah, I totally agree. Personality in that. Yeah, we can teach anything to anyone to deliver, but yeah, whether they want to be there above and beyond, not just to open and close in that 1 hour window, is obviously like hugely important to me. Do you have anything you've been looking for specifically, Marat, with your gym?
Number one for me is the give a shit factor, right? They have to give a shit, not just about wanting to coach. They got to care about people. They got to have a reason why they want to coach, not just because, oh, it seems like a fun job and I could be in the gym, right? They got to actually want to help people. I recently had to hire a new coach from the outside, kind of like an emergency situation. One of my coaches who was coaching a lot of classes had a career change. So we needed to kind of move on that quickly. I got super lucky. right? Our new coach, Abby, she's coaching at another gym that's about 30, 40 minutes away, so not really direct competition. And she's awesome. The way we did it with her is we gathered the other coaches on like a Sunday, and she coached us through a class. So I was able to see how she coached. Then I had her take
So
one of
she
my
was like
classes.
on the spot on her first class. You like put her on the spot in front of all your
Oh yeah,
staff. Oh,
oh yeah,
wow. I
yeah,
like, I
yeah.
don't hate that, but that
Let's see what
some
you
people
got.
a lot wouldn't agree to that. I can
Yeah,
imagine. That's
yeah.
cool.
Listen, you're going to be, your first class is in front of a bunch of people you don't know anyway, right? Especially if you're coming into a gym that you're not a member out of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would prefer, and I've done this with two of my coaches, plucking members and interning them, right, and mentoring them. Both of them, I paid for half of their level one because I saw something in them. I saw that they really cared. I saw that they loved to be there. You know, they dove headfirst into CrossFit. One did it previously, another one was brand new to it, and they just fell in love with it. So I saw in them that they could be good at it, and they both became phenomenal coaches. So I would love to be able to take more people from the gym and intern them just so I have somebody on standby. But, you know, we got super lucky with our new coach that, you know, she just happened, she fit right in. Everybody loves her. Really good coach, great personality. Just pretty much checks all the boxes.
Wow. Sounds like you hit the jackpot. Good for you.
Got lucky.
Outside of like the journal and YouTube, we were talking a lot about coaching development, like outside of CrossFit Journal and CrossFit YouTube channel. Zach, do you have any resources or go-to places that you go to for, I mean, you create daily tips, but at some point you learn those things as well, right? You saw somebody do something, you either added on to it or you found value in it and you repurposed
Yeah.
it. Like what's your go-to, some of your resources that other coaches could go to learn some stuff other than you directly?
Yeah, definitely me directly. But
Yeah.
all those guys, like best hour of their day, there's a handful of, excuse me, there's a handful of groups of people like that have plenty of experience, but I feel like you have to sift through a lot of content and a lot of material to get a few good nuggets. Unfortunately, what I'm going to recommend is going to cost money, but I think the CrossFit courses that they offer online, they package the information that you do need into little courses that are actually super useful. So I've done almost all of those courses on CrossFit.com, like the programming, the lesson planning, coaching fundamentals, spot the floor, and those types of things. They're packaged and put in a way that I thought, damn, I'm glad I did those because I could directly pull pieces from those courses in my head when I was sitting in front of that testing. In that testing scenario for the L3, I was like, okay, I'm glad I did those courses that I can actually use that information for this test. So the CrossFit courses, I think, one, they cost money, but they're my number one recommendation.
Yeah, some of those are pretty good. Some of those are
I
pretty
haven't
good.
seen any of that. So I haven't
Oh
looked
yeah,
at it.
go on CrossFit.com under courses. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, and some of them are quick and easy, and some of them take quite some time. Like I just finished the nutrition.
Oh my god, me too. That one
that
was,
they offer on that. It took quite a long time, but I think they package, like I said, they package the information in a way that is useful for a CrossFit coach and is useful for on the floor, and is useful for your clients as well. Like the spot the floor course that's on there. That was super helpful because a lot of the questions in the L3 were like video and photo. Like, okay, what's the faults here, or how many faults are here, or how many reps were good versus not good. And I know the whole L3 test isn't just teaching or isn't just seeing and correcting questions. There are other questions as well, but
right,
definitely useful. Yeah.
For someone who hasn't done that style of course, would you say it's similar to like the judges course in terms of like video and like answering or whatever, similar format?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Interesting. A little comment here from Don. I wanted to get into coaching because I saw one of my first CrossFit coaches being passionate about it. I mean, yeah, I think that's what makes just in general CrossFit so infectious. The mix of working hard and getting that hormone dump after the workout and then finding the people that you want to be around. That is a very potent combination of things, and it brings you back for more and more. And then, you know, the people who are kind of natural leaders, whether they realize it or not when they go into a CrossFit gym, tend to want to lead other people. They want to, all the things they learn in a CrossFit gym, they get excited to show people, whether you're a member or a coach. Sometimes you learn a trick and you can't believe how cool this trick is on your handstand push-up or even on your front squat or whatever. And you want to show other people. And so that sort of thing kind of snowballs into this overwhelming feeling of, wow, I would love to coach part-time. I'd love to do that. And then it turns into more and more and more for some people. So yeah, I mean, passion, I think that was mentioned by both you guys, just the give a shit, the passion, like being a go-getter, it's infectious. And that's part of what keeps people coming back to your gym.
Don is awesome. We actually connected because we were tagging you in our jump ship workouts and we got to talking. Don's an awesome dude. Yeah, Don's awesome.
Yes, he is. He's a good dude. So before we run, I mean, I don't want to end it right now, but I'm just going to pull something up really quick, guys. Let's see if I can pull it up, just so people, again, staying relevant to the title of the video here for people who haven't seen this. Yeah, so this is kind of what you can get if you are actually planning to take your CCFT, your CrossFit Level 3. CrossFit does outline things. They will deliver. You can actually look this up now. They will deliver this to you. It's a PDF, the table of contents about all the study materials. Now, I'll warn you, this PDF is 17 pages long, and each page has what appears to be 7 to 10 links on it. And these are all old CrossFit Journal articles or videos. You can see circa 2009, 2008. And like I said, a lot of the stuff that's on the test is from back when I was first getting into it. Marat was first getting into it. Zach, what year did you actually get into CrossFit? You said you coached in 2018, but what year did you start?
Like 2017.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What took you so long?
What took?
He's a lot younger than us, man.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just everyone comes into their own stage, I guess. But
he doesn't even have any wrinkles yet. Look at him.
I know. Zach, how old are you? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm 32, and I got into CrossFit because I gave up football. So I was playing football at a high level, and I in an off season wanted to stay fit, and I never went back to football. I just kept doing CrossFit.
Isn't that funny? Interesting how that always works. So overall, Marat, are you planning on taking this test or what? And when are you going to do it?
Yeah, I did the approval process, and it's funny. Like, you have to give them how many hours you coached, and you need 375 in the last 5 hours.
Last 5 years.
Last 5 years, yeah, last 5 years. So I added it up because in the first year I was the only coach. I had like 2,190 hours in 2.5 years.
Yeah. I think that's common. I think that's what a lot of affiliate owners like. Yeah, when affiliate owners open a gym like you did, the misconception is like you open and there's like 150 people coming in the door, but it's just not the case. It's you, yourself, your small amount of equipment you ordered from Rogue where you maxed out your business credit card, hopefully at 0 interest for 12 months. You took out your savings and you put it on a lease and a deposit, and you're hoping for the best, and hopefully you're ready to work your ass off.
Yeah, so I just have to schedule it. I have to pay. First thing they do is send you the link to pay.
Yep.
And I just got to find the date. So I also coach hockey, and our season goes to March, and really busy with that. Tonight, actually, my wife took my son to practice because Wednesday nights I'm there, but I don't have to be on the ice. Every other night we practice, I am. And we're traveling all over the place, all over the Southeast for tournaments and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to schedule it for right after hockey season.
Schedule it ASAP, because Seth, one of the best things someone ever did for me was put the gun to my head and say, Zach, when are you gonna book the test? Book the test and freaking do it. Yeah,
I've thought about it. Now, what do you guys think? Should I just go? Should I raw dog it, or should I study?
In my opinion, you could take a couple days to just dig through some of the old stuff. Even just reading the What is Fitness or skimming the L1 manual will have a ton of info on there. I mean, at bare minimum, I would go back through that. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, give yourself 2 or 3 months, but book it for a couple of months out, and go read the L1, go read the L2. That stuff you pulled up with the study material. I don't think credit to anyone that gets through all that sort of stuff, but
it's
overwhelming. I would be diving headfirst in the L1, the L2, but then the other main things that they offer. So the nutrition handbook, the anatomy handbook, because they have dedicated handbooks to all those types of things. If you check out those materials, and training master's handbook and all that type of thing. So give yourself 1 or 2 months, book it in for whenever you're free, and go for it.
I'll let you guys know.
Well, I didn't bring this up at the start, but I also have to retake my level 3. So I actually let mine lapse back in the day because so I took it, like I said, whenever, a long time ago. It's only good for 3 years. And I let it lapse because back then, when I was living up in Maine, you had to travel to get your CEUs. There were no online courses, very, very few options for CEUs. And it was quite a big ask and a lot of money. And at the time, I didn't find any value in having my level 3. I had it. A lot of people, people heard I got it. Yay, congratulations. And then I went back to being normal Seth in the gym. It didn't change anything for me or my business. So I just went and took the level 2 again to keep my credentials, and I got 5 years on it. But now I've decided I will retake that test. And so I'm doing it.
What do you think is the value of the level 3? Why are you doing it?
Because, well, one of the reasons is location now. Now that I live in Hawaii, there's not that many level 2s available to me very often. Whereas I can just do some online courses for my CEUs, take the test, and then keep my level 3 active for longer. And now that level 2 is the bare minimum to be a gym owner, I'm kind of pigeonholed in that option. I'm not going to fly to mainland to take even if it's every 5 years. I just not going to do it. I'm going to make sure I get it done on my computer myself. I've been in it long enough. So I'm slightly nervous to take the test, I have to admit, even though I feel confident about all the material. If I take it and fail, wow, what do I think of myself now? It's going to be, it's kind of funny.
It'll be a shot to the ego to fail, but I know people who failed multiple times.
It'd be a good wake up call. I mean, a lot of times, like we all get into our rhythm, like Zach's obviously super focused on his daily training tip stuff, and he's going to focus on that. But sometimes that stuff may not carry over to some of the info that you're going to find in L1, L2, whatever. He'll get focused on his business. Marat, you're going to get focused on yours. I've been focused on mine for a long time. And so some of these little details, like, for example, like I'll have to go back and figure out how to remeasure for zone diet. I forget how to do that, but I'll have to know that for the test. I'll have to go back and look at the formula for power output again. Like all these little things I'm going to have to refresh myself on. Not that I don't know what it's for or how to use it, but to nail that test and nail that answer, you do need to be somewhat sharp on the specifics of that stuff. So I'm aware of it.
Yeah, it's funny.
There will be questions on that type of thing. And there will be questions on like what a healthy, blood pressure levels and all that type of thing. So you will be need to familiar with all those.
So Seth, I know you could relate to this because you've been, you have so much experience, years and years, that the more new things you learn, it kind of pushes all that other stuff away a little bit, so like you need those refreshers.
It's a if you don't use it, you lose it sort of thing, because like depending on what your niche is or what your focus is, a lot of affiliate owners become business owners, and they do a lot less coaching, and they make a lot more executive type decisions for their business and a lot more other things. And so you learn other parts of being an affiliate owner, but you can lose some of the things you don't put into practice.
Yeah, and also things like like the energy systems. How often do you talk to your members about energy systems?
Well, I nerd out. I just happen to nerd out on that quite a bit, unfortunately for them.
Yeah.
But
if they're asked,
there's other things I don't. There's other things I don't. But yeah, that's why I like. Zach had mentioned this earlier. It's kind of going full circle here. I like that he did his like daily tip, and he's going to probably continue it because it keeps him sharp on his movements. That's like, even if he goes and becomes like super focused on now growing a gym in the future or whatever, he's now done 1,000 days of movement efficiency and tips that are just going to be so embedded in him. That's going to be something he doesn't lose for a long time. So when people kind of dial stuff like that in, they get to keep that for a long period of time. And that's good. So anyway.
Hey, I use Zach's tips often. He comes up with really good stuff, and I find myself like, repeating things he said in his videos, not with a good accent, but close.
Before we wrap up, Zach, anything you want to mention other than your Instagram? Do you have any products, programs, things you have out there that people can come find you and use?
Come sign up to my gym. Don't care where you live in the world. I can send you a link and you can sign up.
Damn, I was going to say that.
You can pay a membership anytime you want. But yeah, just like you, I've got some online programming anyone can jump on, and it's based around the CrossFit methodology. We've got one workout a day with a few extras if you want to do that. But
who's your target? Who's your target for your program? Like, who's your target athlete? Do you have like an avatar?
Yeah, like a quarterfinals athlete. I write it for myself, and I'm like a quarterfinals level athlete, and then that is like it's doing Grace RX, it's doing Isabel RX, it's doing Fran RX. That's who it's written for. And we do it at my gym, and we scale it for everybody, and it works absolute wonders.
That's awesome.
I bet it does. I bet if you're following the methodology, I bet it works great.
Yeah.
Seth, do you want to get into what Don just asked?
All right. Well, you guys got 2 more minutes?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Real quick. Don Neary, thoughts on MetFix and its possible affiliates insert. So MetFix, it's basically, I honestly don't know anything about it other than Greg just kind of announced that this is going to be his new, I don't even call it a version of CrossFit, his new cure for metabolic dysfunction, essentially. So
Yeah, so
it'll be, go ahead. It'll be a series of gyms, I assume, and affiliates that need a vetting process to get into and whatever else, but I don't know many details.
Emily Kaplan posted an old video of him talking about what he would do if he ever sold CrossFit. And he said, after he was done counting his money, he'd probably just do the same thing and keep going. So it kind of seems like it, because they posted something that all they did was bought the name CrossFit, all his old material, and basically that's it. And now his non-compete is over. It sounds like it's going to be an affiliate model, but for gyms, and that's interesting because I'm old school. I love the methodology, and people ask me why I opened the gym. I could have opened any gym I wanted to. I chose CrossFit because I believe in the methodology, right? Even though Glassman's not the owner anymore, the methodology is still there. That's still what we do. We still do what he created. So now with MetFix, what's it going to be? Is it going to be the same exact thing? Because then if it is, kind of what's the point,
Or is it going to be marketed towards sick, fat, unhealthy people, or what is it going to be? Because Greg would always say, we've already got the fit people, and you see that in the gym. We've already got all the fit people. But if you go down to your McDonald's, they don't look like the people in your affiliate, right? We need all them. We need them in the gym doing the thing. So I don't know who it's going to be marketed at. I don't know what is going to be different about it, because I think we've almost nailed it.
And what are they going to do in terms of getting the name out for it? What's the name MetFix going to do for anybody? I know for me, the name CrossFit gets people Googling us. That's the number one way people come to our gym. I'm like, oh, how'd you hear about us? Oh, I Googled.
I mean, at this point, I like that Greg's somewhat back in the fitness space and not just in the science space a bit, like the health space. I know they're not exactly one and the same, let's put it that way. And so it'll be interesting to see what he puts out there, what he offers. I mean, I think it's going to be a hard sell, even though Greg would be at the helm, to get a bunch of people to drop a CrossFit affiliation and go, even if they were accepted, to a MetFix affiliation. I mean, and again, we're just speculating without a ton of info now as to what it's going to be, how many gyms he's going to have. Maybe he limits it. Who knows what's going to happen with it? But I mean, I will be paying attention when info actually comes out about this, because I mean, maybe there are more things that I can learn that I can implement at my current locations without having to rebrand everything. And
I think it'll be kind of like a dual affiliation. You know how a lot of CrossFit gyms are like High Rocks affiliates now? Maybe it'll be something like that where people can do both. I don't know.
That would be more interesting than having to pick for me. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah. I don't know if I would drop the CrossFit name. I've defended CrossFit. I defend CrossFit online, right? I get into fights with people online defending CrossFit, right? So just because I believe in it so much, and just because the founder is starting something else, that's not an automatic for me to leave CrossFit.
No, not when you have an established business. Clock, I want more laundry detergent bottle programming for my 1970s decorated living room. I got such a kick out of those videos when they came out. I thought it was actually kind of genius, even though it was a little they did it tacky on purpose, old sitcom style setups. But I thought it was kind of genius the way that they made other people think about okay, I'm not just trying to find a bunch of athletes and train them for sport. I'm trying to find people and get them moving however I can, thinking outside the box. I don't know. Zach, thoughts on? Do you remember that old campaign they did?
I loved it, because why couldn't we do both, right? We do both in the gym every day. Why can't we find the fittest on earth and cure chronic disease, right? And that's what I think. Obviously, everything's speculation with MetFix, but I think it might be some sort of dual affiliation, or it might be something where they provide some sort of material for us to give people around nutrition and lifestyle and stuff like that, because most CrossFit gyms are banging on about cool, let's squat deeper and let's run
Mm.
faster. But can we give our clients more resources and more guidance on, around how to actually reverse their type 2 diabetes and that type of thing? So I think it will be functional movements. I think it'll be more geared towards curing chronic disease because
I hope
we've got the
you're right.
PP people. Yeah.
Yeah. I would love that if that's really the angle they took on it and they were providing material, like, because I know it's been talked about quite a bit, but like the base of the pyramid or whatever, like everyone skips the nutrition or coaches aren't talking about it.
Mhm.
They haven't built a nutrition lecture into their 60-minute CrossFit class. We're just getting people moving and getting them out the door for the next class, so to speak, But yeah, there's so much that can be done on the nutrition front that is probably more important than the exercise itself. And most, I would dare say, CrossFit gyms don't really do much about it. So hopefully they provide that material and you can kind of use them together in some way. That would be amazing.
Yeah, currently I do individualized nutrition for people who want it, and I talk about it, I promote it, I try to get people to sign up. I would love to have some sort of membership that included that, some kind of like grab and go material, get people started right away. Just add the nutrition in with that because, people don't realize that's the biggest piece.
Grab and go
Yeah.
material would be good, but the best success I have with people is one-on-one because
Yeah.
they have someone that's accountable and they have someone they can open up to and sort of bounce off. So
Yeah. I mean, one-on-one, when people stick to the plan, they get unbelievable results, right? Like I know all three of us have the stories of people losing 50 pounds, whatever, completely becoming a different person, right? And that's why we do it. That's why we do it. I just wish more people had the buy-in on the nutrition.
Awesome. Well, guys, I'm going to end it there. I don't want to take too much more time, but in the future, if we could ever get our time zones to sync again, I'd love to do another topic and dive into more. So let me know if we can do that. So
Marat, thanks for being the catalyst to bring this together. And Seth, thanks for being such a good host.
Happy to do it. This is awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. I appreciate it. And I'm always down for a good idea. So guys, thanks for tuning in. Hope you got something out of it. And if you have any ideas for other shows you want to hear, always just leave it in the comments and we'll take care of you. All right. Till next time.
All right. See you.